everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen, and today's video we are going to be doing a book tag. And today's book tag is called The World's Worst Book Tag. This tag was created by Peter Likes Books, so I'll leave his original video linked down below for you guys to check it out if you like. But I saw Ali from Hardback Hoarder do this tag, and I thought it was a lot of fun, so I decided to go ahead and do it anyways, even though I wasn't tagged, and that's okay. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so the first question is, what book or series would you force your enemy to read? I'm assuming this means what book do you dislike so much that you're gonna force your enemy to read it. Honestly, I have so many that I could potentially make my enemy read. I think I would probably make them read New Moon, which is the second book in the Twilight Saga, because I DNF'd Twilight because of that book. I couldn't stand that book. It was annoying to me so much. I could also pick Anna from Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. However, this book, I feel like I'm one of like 12 people in the whole world who did not like this book, and it has such a high rating on Goodreads. A lot of people love it, a lot of people find it fun. I just personally did not like it. I thought the main character was so annoying. She's probably one of my top 5 most annoying characters I have ever read about, and she like ruined the whole book for me. So I guess those could be 2 books that I would force my enemy to read, but you know, it could backfire on me and they end up like liking both of these books. So alright, and then question number 2 is, what book have you tried to read several times but haven't been able to finish? So the book that fits this question perfectly is Moon and More by Sarah Dessen, which is very sad because I actually love Sarah Dessen. She is my favorite contemporary author, and I love pretty much 99% of her books. There's just something about her books that is so warm and immersive and beautiful, and I love her writing style. She has a very distinct writing style, and I really enjoy her stories, and this book just lacked that. I don't know what it is. Everything that makes a Sarah Dessen book special was missing from this book. I have tried to read this book 3 different times and I DNF'd all 3 times. I have this book because it's part of my Sarah Dessen collection. Alright, and then the third question is, what book has a close friend recommended to you that you ended up loving? So the book that I chose for this question is actually a book that I just recently read, and it is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So I did this thing for the month of March where you guys recommend me some of your favorite books so that I would read it for the month of March. Sandy from Sandy Reads a Lot recommended me this book, and that's the reason why I chose this book. However, one of my closest friends, Desiree from Libri Labra, she recommended this book so many times. She told me to read it so many times. She absolutely loves this book, and so I decided to pick it up also because of her, and I ended up loving this book. I have to say, I think this book is now one of my favorite books of all time. It was so good. It's a book that's definitely out of my comfort zone, but so many people have been talking about it. So many people have been loving it. It was absolutely fantastic. All the hype behind this book is very well deserving. Alright, and then question number 4 is, what book in the last year took you the longest to read? So I have actually 2 books for this question. So the first book within the last year that I've read that took me the longest to read was Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. This book took me like a month to read. It's like 600 pages. Yeah, over 600 pages, and I don't know what it is about Cassandra Clare's books, but every single book that I've read by Cassandra Clare just has taken me a while to read. I feel like the stories are very dense, there's a lot of details. And then the next book for this question that I actually finished reading last month was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. It is the 6th book in the Harry Potter series, and that book took me over a month to read. It is the longest Harry Potter book. It is about 800 pages, so it is a massive book. However, usually Harry Potter books I get done really fast because I love Harry Potter series. It is one of my favorite series of all time. Pretty much almost everybody loves the Harry Potter series. It's a great story. It's just, I don't know what it was about that book that just took me so long to read. It wasn't. And then question number 5, what is the fastest book you've read in the last 5 years because it was so damn good? And I'm gonna go back to a previous answer, and I'm going to say The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I read this book in 1 day. Now granted, I read this book while I was on my reading retreat with my friends Chloe from the Net Bibliophile and Desiree from Libri Labra. In case you don't know, a reading retreat is where me and Desiree and Chloe, we rent out a hotel room and we just spent the whole time time hanging out and, more importantly, reading. And I chose this book to read first during the reading retreat, and I ended up just blowing through this book. It was so good. I again read it in one day. I couldn't put it down. Even if I wasn't on the reading retreat, I feel like I would have read this book so fast because it was just so immersive, and I wanted to know what happens next, and I wanted to know all about Evelyn Hugo's 7 Husbands, so I know for a fact that I would have read this very, very quickly. Alright, and then the next question is, clear your mind. What are the first 3 books that immediately come to your mind? The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, just because I just talked about it. The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak, and Stranger Dreamer by Laini Taylor. All which happens to be some of my favorite books of all time. Alright, and then question number 7 is the last book you will admit to skimming. So the last book that I definitely skimmed, I normally don't. It's very rare that I skim a book unless I'm just not into it, but I really am dedicated to finishing the book, is Girls of Fire and Thorns by Ray Carson. I don't know what it was about this book that I just couldn't get into the story. I thought it was really, really boring. I couldn't connect to the main characters. I don't know what it was about this book, but it just didn't click with me. I couldn't find the motivation to really just be interested in the book because honestly I didn't find anything interesting in the book, so I ended up just skimming a lot of the book. I was also listening to audiobook, but I honestly didn't dedicate 100% of my attention to an audiobook, and when I listen to audiobooks I really have to focus, otherwise I could get distracted and I miss like a big chunk of the book. And when I was listening to the audiobook for this book, I just did not care, so I just skimmed the book. I ended up giving that book 2 stars. Question number 8, what author, if they secretly dropped a brand new book tomorrow, would you immediately have to buy and begin reading ASAP? I know an author that I automatically always read her books as soon as she releases them is Sarah Dessen books. As soon as I discovered Sarah Dessen, every single book that she has released, I always buy it within the first week of the publication date, and then I always read it within a couple days of buying that book. Normally I am always excited over books that are released, but I don't always tend to read them right away as soon as I buy them because I'm in the process of reading other books, and I just get distracted, and pretty much that book might sit on my shelves for months. But Sarah Dessen is one that I always read as soon as I buy the book. Alright, and question number 9, favorite book or type of book to read in bed or by the pool? I honestly don't have an answer to this just because I don't automatically, oh, I'm gonna read by the pool, so I should read this book because it's the type of book I like to read by the pool. It's not. I'm a mood reader, so I tend to gravitate towards books that I feel like reading at the moment or I'm in the process of reading. That's how my TBRs work. I usually choose books that I'm in the mood to read at that moment, and I'll read it throughout the month. But so I really don't have an answer to this question just because, again, I don't gravitate towards any particular book when I'm going to read by the pool or read in bed. Question number 10. What book would you give to your best friend and force them to read because it's so good? Okay, so my best friend is not much of a reader, so I don't know which book I would give her, but I would probably suggest The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. It's my favorite book of all time, and it's a really, really good historical fiction for those of you who like historical fictions. I will also recommend The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo just because it's so good. If she's more into fantasy, I would recommend Stranger Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I will also recommend The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. That's fantastic. So those are just some books that I would recommend for her to read, even though I don't think she'll pick up any of them because, again, she's not a reader. Anyway, guys, that is all for the world's worst book tag. But let me know down in the comments below what are some of your answers to these questions, because I would really love to know what you guys would have answered for some of these questions. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads, if you like to follow me on those platforms. I hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day, guys, and keep reading. Bye!